When we look at these old Pervidich maps, we are looking at the first layer of Besiktas. A century ago, this place wasn't defined by the roar of buses or the gray of asphalt. It was a landscape of soft edges. The most beautiful part of the surroundings back then were the Bostons. These were huge, lush vegetable gardens that filled the valleys and hillsides. In the past, Besiktas had a green heart. You could smell the wet soil and fruit trees even as you approached the shore. The buildings were mostly made of timber, designed on a human scale. The streets were narrow, winding paths that protected neighbors from the sun. The only thing that felt truly heavy and permanent was the Sinan Pasha Mosque. Its hand-cut stone walls stood as a silent anchor in a village of wood. Back then, there was no main road. There was only a labyrinth of alleys where the city and nature lived together. This was a place where you walked slow, and the atmosphere was quiet, shaded, and intimate. Look at the Naval Museum in our modern photos. It represents the final stage of this evolution. We've moved past stone and concrete into the era of transparent glass and steel. It's a giant, light-filled structure that sits on what used to be a natural beach. It's beautiful, but it's a hard beauty. It doesn't have the warmth of the old wood or the gardens. The shore wasn't a hard concrete line like it is today. Back then, the sea and the land had a messy, natural relationship. There were small wooden piers, irregular mud banks, and private boat landings. The atmosphere along the shore was quiet. You could hear the water hitting the wooden stilts of the warehouses. Everything changed when the city embraced the modernist manifesto in the 1950s. As you see in the aerial photos, Sinan Pasha Mosque feels different today. It used to be tucked away in a garden. Now it stands alone on a concrete island, surrounded by roaring traffic and wide open pavement. We have gained efficiency, wide walkways, and a modern skyline. This is when central Besiktas began to feel hard. Take BKM Street, Hasfiren Street, and the Market District. While the streets stayed somewhat high, the buildings around them grew taller and colder. The breathing wooden houses were replaced by multi-story concrete apartment blocks. The atmosphere became dense and trapped. The air began to hold the heat of the asphalt instead of the coolness of the gardens. The shoreline was transformed into a hard, straight concrete keep. The district was no longer a village. It was being redesigned as a high-speed machine, a gateway where the earth was paved over to make way for progress. Ultimately, Besiktas is no longer a hidden garden of stone and wood, but a massive manifesto of concrete and speed. While we've built wider roads and grand glass monuments, the intimate soul of the old village remains buried beneath the asphalt of the square, a reminder that progress always comes at the cost of the gardens we once called home.